Most girls think they can run away from menstruation by getting pregnant, so there are a lot of teenage pregnancies because they didn't want to go through menstruation.
See, as you mentioned about sanitary towels, and last year or the other previous financial budget, we, the women reps, were part of the parcel of distribution of these sanitary towels. So there are scenarios where you have 3,000 girls, and you're told they'll be brought 3,000, but they bring 2,000.
Yes.
And so there are those gaps, and I just want to encourage you and your team, please do a follow-up for the sake of
Thank
our
you.
girls.
Last year, around September, that's September 2019, there was this article in Daily Nation where a girl killed herself because of the shame that was inflicted upon her by a female teacher in Bomet. My name is Margaret Obuya. I'm 24 years and I'm a menstrual hygiene ambassador. So this girl, she got her maiden period while in class. It was the first time she ever experienced it. So the fact that she had soiled herself, she couldn't concentrate in class and she was just so confused that it sparked the female teacher to realize that she's not stable in class. So upon inquiring is when she found out that the girl had actually soiled herself. But then to think that she's a female teacher, that she would actually sort it out, I don't know, just as a female, she did not. She actually called her out in class, called her dirty, and asked her to go out of the class. Mind you, this is a mixed school. Well, she committed suicide just that day, because when her mother was being interviewed, she said that she was okay when she came home, but then after a few hours, she explained to the mother what had happened and she went to fetch water. That's where she was found hanging.
Kufika nyumbani, akaja kupata mamake mzazi nyumbani. Akamwelezea mamake jinsi ilivyofanyika shuleni mpaka akakuja nyumbani. Naye mamake akamwambia asijali manake atafua tu nguo na arudi shule.
Tunasikia nduru huko jini, tukakimbia huko jini, tukaenda kuona, tukasema Chamweno amekufa.
Chamweno amechitia kitanzi.
Educating girls and women about feminine hygiene and biology helps to bust myths and cultural superstitions. Access to correct information about hygiene and adequate sanitary materials enables women to feel more confident and comfortable with their bodies.
I actually came to know about menstruation like in an educative way when I was in high school. During primary, I didn't know anything about menstruation, and when I started my period also, I was scared. I thought I was dying because I didn't know what was going on. And considering I don't have a mom and I can't approach my dad and tell him, oh, something is happening, it was a scary moment. I went silent for some time, and because I couldn't access pads myself, I was using toilet paper because I couldn't tell my dad. I was just scared, and then when I went to boarding school, that's when I had my first pads. Like they bought for me pads to go to boarding school, and that's when at least I could see other girls using, and then I started using them.
Lack of modern sanitary products often leads to lower school attendance rates, failure, and/or dropping out. When girls miss school, they lose educational pace with boys, making them more vulnerable inside and outside of the classroom.
When you're in a place where people can easily access the sanitary towels, and then you go to a place where there is none at all, you just keep asking yourself the question. So at times you just find they're using pieces of cloth, or they keep tearing the mattresses. But what sparked me the most is 2 months ago I read about Tana River, just to find out that the ladies are actually digging holes and sitting there the whole day because they cannot afford the sanitary towels, the sanitary pads, or the products just generally. So I think it's quite unfortunate that such a thing is actually happening in this Kenya of ours.
Knowing what product or material to use, how often to change it, and having access to water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities helps girls and women maintain good hygiene while menstruating.
I would just advocate to normalize the issue of periods is seen as a shameful thing in those areas. You can't go and tell your parents, I want money for pads and there's no food in the house. They won't consider that. That's why those girls are opting to dig holes or something.
The homespun solutions raise the risk of vaginal infections that suppress the reproductive tract's natural defenses. A weaker immune response can compromise the body's ability to fight the sexually transmitted human papillomavirus, the microbial cause of most cervical cancers.
Menstrual hygiene can lead to certain complications like UTI, vaginosis, urogenital infections. You can get changes in your pH level. You can also get some rashes in your genital area.
Desensitizing men and boys about menstruation leads to more open conversations and empathy. Since fathers are often the breadwinners, it is important to inform them about menstruation because they determine if funds are available to buy menstrual products.
All women experience it differently. There are those who will have the discomfort, there are those who will not have the discomfort.
Teach them about it and make them not to be ashamed of it. Let them just be normal and free to talk about it.
The moment they get to understand that and support the ladies, I think we make a huge impact.
A menstrual cycle is a process that happens to females between the age of 9 and 55. That's puberty to menopause. And it only stops when somebody is pregnant.
Mostly in high school, I just knew I have to give back to community. I didn't know how, but I knew I had to give back to community. So recently, it's when I discovered my interest in the menstrual health hygiene, in the awareness, and so I took it.
My name is Nico Mondi, and this is the